Not good news. Wout van Aert has a rear wheel puncture.
Welcome to the 120th edition of the Hell of the North. 175 riders are taking part in Paris-Roubaix 2023, looking to follow in the footsteps of last year's winner, Dylan van Baarle. The Dutchman has traded the Ineos Grenadiers for Jumbo-Visma, who boast a very strong lineup indeed. Wout van Aert is one of the big favourites, while Christophe Laporte is on top form after winning Gent-Wevelgem and Dwars door Vlaanderen.
On ne sait jamais ce qui peut arriver sur Paris-Roubaix, donc c'est bien d'avoir plusieurs cartes à jouer. Nous, notre but, c'est d'avoir une course de mouvement comme d'habitude, donc on va essayer de faire une belle course.
Et comment c'est sans route? On sait qu'il est tombé il y a une semaine.
Écoutez, je pense qu'il a dit qu'il avait encore des gènes, donc on va voir aujourd'hui, mais je pense que ça va aller.
Second at the Tour of Flanders, Mathieu van der Poel is looking to go one better in what's been a brilliant campaign.
I feel still good. After Sanremo, the season was already a big success for me, of course. I end up second in Indries, second in the Ronde, so I think I've had a really good season so far, and I try to go for the second monument this year. Yeah, hate and love is close to each other, especially with a race like this. But yeah, for sure, it's one of the toughest races out there, and it's nice when you do a good result.
Other contenders include Filippo Ganna and Stefan Kung, while Mads Pedersen is one to watch after his podium finish in Flanders.
I think Roubaix suits me better than the couples classics in Flanders, so yes. It's a big goal, so hopefully I can win Roubaix before my career is over, yes.
Almost 257 kilometres from Compiègne to Roubaix, with 54.5k of cobbled sectors counting down from 29 to 1. The weather conditions are dry and sunny, but some of the cobbles will be slippery after rainfall earlier this week. Either way, this is Paris-Roubaix, so it's going to be fast and furious. Well, the attacks began to fly as soon as the flag dropped, and there were plenty of teams looking interested, including Israel Premier Tech, Movistar, Astana Kazakhstan and AG2R Citroën. But it took a long time for anything to stick, with the average speed well over 50 kilometres an hour. Sylvain Tillier, who was second at this race in 2018, did get a small gap with Dorian de Macht of Bingoal, but he was unable to keep pace with the Swiss rouleur. Tillier was then joined by Ryan Mullen of Bora Hansgrohe, but they never had more than about 10 seconds on the rest of the peloton and were caught around 40k from the first cobbled sector. The attacks continuing to come thick and fast. 2017 winner Greg van Avermaet had a dig at one point, and so too did Edvald Boas and Hagen, but they were both reeled back in as well. The peloton all stretched out as they began to think about positioning for the cobbles. As things briefly settled, 4 men shot off the front: Jonas Koch from Bora Hansgrohe, Derek G from Israel Premier Tech, Sjoerd Bax from UAE and Yuri Holman from Movistar. Niels Eckhoff chasing, but in vain. And the 4 leaders had a minute and a half heading onto that first cobbled sector. The stress was palpable in the peloton, and after Josh Tarling went to ground for Ineos, Jumbo-Visma hit the front, leading the way onto sector 27. The 4 leaders still with over a minute in hand. Bad news for Soudal Quick-Step though, with Casper Asgreen and Florian Seneschal both suffering mechanicals. Their misery continuing. Defending champion Van Baarle was also held up after a crash on sector 26, as Van der Poel's Alpecin Elegant team, their name for today's race, came to the fore. The leaders increasing their advantage to almost 2 minutes as they approach the first 5-star sector, the gateway to hell, the fearsome Truet d'Arambert. Van Aert had to change bikes before then, but no major panic for the Belgian start. Koch, G, Bax and Holman still leading, followed by a chase group now of Scottson, Turgis, Reinders, Michels and birthday boy Durbridge. They had about 30 seconds on the peloton. But Jumbo-Visma made a big move on sector 20 before Arenberg. Van Aert putting the hammer down and going clear with Laporte, Van der Poel and the 2015 winner John Degenkolb. The leaders only had 20 seconds on the Van Aert group as they made their way onto arguably the toughest sector. But 4 would soon become 3 as the unfortunate G saw his front tyre explode. There was then a big crash in the peloton. It took down Asgreen and the defending champion Van Baarle. Just after the Arenberg Forest, the Van Aert group caught the breakaway. Pedersen managed to bridge across solo. followed by a group that contained Ganna and two of Van der Poel's teammates, Philipsen and Gianni Vermeersch. Laporte, however, was held up by a puncture and he was caught by what remained of the peloton. The 13 leaders now with what looked like a winning margin of 1 minute and 30 seconds. Alpecin using their numbers at the front on behalf of Van der Poel, although he was doing a fair amount of turns himself. Jumbo-Visma trying desperately to give Van Aert a bit of extra support at the front, with Van Hooijdonk and Laporte chasing hard. But even with the help of Florian Vermeersch, the 2021 runner-up, they were unable to close the gap. And the winner would come from that front group. On Sector 12, Van der Poel decided to shake things up, with Degenkolb immediately onto his wheel. Van Aert coming across as well. The others managed to get back before Mont-Saint-Pavel, where Van der Poel and Van Aert attacked again. And that would be game over for several riders in the leading group. Soon, only 7 men remained. Van der Poel, Van Aert, Philipsen, Ganna, Kung, Pedersen and Degenkolb. And they more or less kept their powder dry until the final 5-star sector, the Carrefour de l'Arbre, where it all went wrong for Degenkolb. The former winner going to ground after a tangle with Philipsen and Van der Poel, and that ended his hopes of a second cobblestone trophy. Van Aert making the most of that incident to put in a stinging attack, but the Belgian then punctured at the worst possible time, and he had to watch as his eternal rival Van der Poel sailed past him. Nobody would catch the Dutchman, the rest would battle it out for a place on the podium.
You can see just how fast the riders are able to take this sector, Anthony.
Whoa. How did he miss that turn? Here we go now. Mathieu Van der Poel sits up, renaming Monument Mathieu, because now he wins 2 monuments in a season. Philipsen celebrates behind. Winner, 120th Paris-Roubaix, Mathieu Van der Poel.
Mathieu Van der Poel wins Paris-Roubaix at the 3rd time of asking, adding another prestigious line to his remarkable CV. The 28-year-old has now triumphed at 3 of the 5 monuments, including 2 editions of the Tour of Flanders. He also won Milan-San Remo earlier this year, as well as the World Cyclocross Championship. Van der Poel has 8 podiums in his 14 monuments to date, and just 1 finish outside the top 10.
Incredible how we rode as a team today, and then Jasper finishing 2nd. Yeah, it's not possible to do better than this. Like I said before, you need a bit of luck and good legs, and I had both today. It's hard to describe, but I think I do my best classic season ever, and this was my last race, and to finish it off like this, it's a dream.
Alpecin elegant, claiming the first 1-2 at Paris-Roubaix since 2001, as Philipsen out-sprinted Van Aert to come 2nd. You have to feel for the Jumbo-Visma leader after that late puncture. Pedersen led in Kung and Ganna, with poor old Degenkolb crossing the line in tears over 2.5 minutes down, while Scheid, Rex and Laporte rounding out the top 10. So MVDP makes it a 2nd straight win for the Netherlands. He will now try to become the first rider to defend his Paris-Roubaix title since Tom Bonen back in 2009. Join us again next year to see how he gets on, and thanks very much for watching.